Good morning, everyone. Greetings from the Institute of Global Professionals IGP Bangladesh. Greetings from the Institute of Global Professionals IGP Bangladesh. Thank you all for joining us and staying with us till the end, honorable knowledge seekers. Today I am your host for the morning. My name is Oitra Boshak and I am from Bangladesh. Dear IGP knowledge seekers, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member. IGP is a social and ISO certified international training institute. In last 3 years, we already served 3 million knowledge seekers from 100 plus countries. IGP is internationally recognized and globally accredited. We are connected to more than 250 plus professionals and 4,500 plus organizations. Institute of Global Professionals (IGP) is the training faculty for skill development which was founded in 2020 and is generating competent candidates to meet demand in the global labor market by providing professionals qualifications. The Institute of Global Professionals is an educational institute that provides social work globally recognized and reputable. We serve students and community resource, providing holistic social work and education. We believe that it's not effective to increase one's skill just day by acquiring formal education. So we provide and consulting HNET proficient generation all over the world. We distribute the service locally, nationally, and internationally to job seekers, job holders, students, and nationally, also our learners through respective campus location and distance learning platform. We are an occupational and dependable institution. IGP is one of the famous institutes all over the world. Our vision is education is not a business product, it's a part of our human rights. Based on our vision, we are trying to all reach the world for free webinars, seminars, courses, awards, quiz competition, mentoring, and counseling, etc. On the other side, we also trying to serve more than 100 plus premium service for free like creates own portfolio website, resume builder, cover letter, motivation letter, and world knowledge platform for gathering general knowledge which can upgrade all day. Kids learning games, website, free courses, convert sites, and many more. We help students to learn to meet their expectations and dreams and becomes highly skilled people. We implement several training programs, webinars, and offline online courses for youth and learners, professionals, trainers, seekers, and coaches. Our sessions are conducted by globally renowned professionals to develop all kinds of youth and to promote the education of their abilities and personal development. To ensure excellent and in-depth instruction, we armed with qualified trainers, speakers, and instructors. We extend our services globally in last few years, we have affiliated in 70 different countries. Virtual mouse signing with many colleges and organizations have been accomplished. We are working to create a legendary generation to future scholars and citizens who will be accountable. We are constantly prepared to assist all knowledge seekers with value with valuable service. Spreading knowledge is crucial for the Institute of Global Knowledge. We believe that knowledge is life, light, and vision. So we try to understand the needs of today's generation and will serve them with good research-based method. So we must have genuine concern for the learners. We represent more diversity, growth, and innovation and required to lead a session with personalism, passion, and integrity. IG members are committed to offering effective based quality service and continual improvement so that individual who seeks information can improve their skill levels and values. Before we move to the next, let me remind you, don't forget share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very valuable to us. Thank you. Before we move to the next, let me remind you, don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very valuable to us. Thank you. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we already completed 1,281 webinars successfully. Wow. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we already completed 1,281 webinars successfully. Wow. At present, we are going to start our 1,282 program. Name is Steam for Money. And our speaker, ma'am, Dr. Cleofi Menguangan Legbao from Philippines. Before I hand over the stage to ma'am, want to share a little bit about she is an secondary school teacher and Deputy LUDON Elugio G. Zuman Memorial National High School. Now, very important moment for me to invite our speaker to IGP with her presentation. Now, very important moment for me to invite our speaker to IGP with her presentation. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you, ma'am?
I'm great.
Ma'am, on behalf of IGP News, want to hear from you about you, ma'am.
Come again, sir.
On behalf of IGP Knowledge Seekers, want to hear from you. About you, ma'am.
Okay. I am Dr. Cleophas Mangawang Lakbaw from the Philippines, a teacher three, a former CMEO scholar. The reason why I am sharing my knowledge today in IGP because I wanted to share also the knowledge I gained from that previous course I attended.
Thank you, ma'am. Now the stage is your, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, please share your presentation.
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it visible, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, now stage is your. Please, ma'am.
Okay.
Start.
So thank you very much. So once again, it's my gratitude to be here again in the Institute of Global Professionals to share the knowledge I gained from my previous course, which I attended virtually from Simea Sikkim last May 2022. And before anything else, I would like again to say good morning to everyone. Of course, to the IGP team, to all the viewers around the world. And also, I am extending my greetings to this schools division where I belong, headed by Attorney Donato Valderas, and all the officials in our division, as well as in our school, my principal, Dr. Elisayo Benafe, my head teacher, Sir Reynaldo Stasio, and all the math teachers and teachers of Don Eulogio de Guzman Memorial National High School, Calumbaya, Bawang, La Union, Philippines. Good morning. They say that sharing is shown by caring, and so it is my honor and privilege to show how much I care by sharing whatever things I've learned from the past, so that others can also learn from the sharings that I will be sharing right now. And so, without so much ado, our topic for today is all about STEM for mathematics learning. So STEM for mathematics learning in the first in our first impression, when we say STEM, we might have different ideas regarding that. But when we incorporate mathematics learning, that is the time that we are directed to a certain principle, what do you call it, disciplines of learning, wherein we can apply this particular STEM education. Now, what is STEM education? It is a teaching and learning approach which emphasizes the connections among or the integration of knowledge, skills in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and that is the abbreviation of STEM, to address problems facing our communities. And that is according to Simeo STEM education. Now, you see, it is highlighted the word connections to address problems. Now, we can have much details on that as we go through in our presentation or discussion. Why STEM education? So, why do we have to take this STEM education and integrate or incorporate or use it in our lessons or teaching and learning process? Of course, there are some um, what we call this studies that proves that this is really effective, and that is why we are trying to utilize this also, especially those who haven't incorporated or who haven't utilized this in their school. First is competitive human resources in 21st century. Why competitive? Because the fact that we are having this STEM learning, students are engaged with different activities and challenge, as well as they are engaged to think critically and apply the necessary 21st century learning skills that they will be needing in the future. And so they are prepared to be competitive individuals. Next is innovation in society. With the different problems that arise in our society, there are some issues which are gives us which challenge us really, and the reason for that is we are challenged to solve those problems by trying to make some innovations, inventions, or interventions so that we could be able to solve those particular problems in a way that we are using this STEM education. That is according to an author, Everly. Increase the students' interest in STEM careers. Why? Because when students are engaged with this particular approach, then they have this interest to come up with courses or careers that are aligned with STEM education, and those are those engineering courses that is really very high paid, if we may say so. Those engineering courses, mathematics related, and those have something to do with those STEM education aligned with science, technology, and engineering and mathematics, making learning more relevant. Why more relevant with STEM education? It's because the students are engaged. When students are engaged, it leaves something to them, an experience that is really worth remembering. They are not just learning, but they are um, trying to live with that particular learning, which is relevant. Why? Because at the same time they are learning, it is a preparation in their future. They are being prepared to be competitive human resources in the 21st century. Next is nurturing scientific thinking, because one of the two competencies that is being developed here is to be a scientific thinker, creative and critical thinkers at the same time. They have to utilize their abilities in thinking logically, trying to solve problems. How are they going to incorporate their scientific skills in problem solving? So it is being nurtured. The more that we try to engage our students in this STEM education, the more they are being prepared, engaged, and they even love that particular thing that they are doing. STEM literacy. STEM literacy, because there are some problems which cannot be addressed by just one discipline. And so there comes the integration of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So in that way, they are trying to solve a certain problem in other learning areas, incorporating, so they are making connections. And that is the most important thing in problem solving, trying to solve a problem, connecting it to the other learning areas to solve that particular problem. So that is why we need this STEM education. STEM teaching and learning. A teaching and learning approach which features on meaningful integration of science, mathematics, and mathematics knowledge, application of science and mathematics knowledge, technology, and engineering principles, designing and building solutions to solve problems using what we call the engineering design process. So again, it is highlighted meaningful integration, application, designing, and building solutions to solve problems. So still the connection is there. Now, this particularly gives emphasis on the 21st century skills. And these are what we call the four C's. We have critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. Now, how to realize them in the classroom? Okay, so let's try to zero in with the details of this particular um, 21st century learning skills. For critical thinking and problem solving, we can give our students problems to solve, where they are challenged to think critically how they are going to make possible solutions to the problem. Okay, so in that way, they are trying to imagine, they are trying to plan, they are trying to create something that will solve a certain problem. under creativity, that is creating something through engineering design process. Now, if the problem is we call it a somehow it has something to do that we have to make a certain prototype or a model, there the creativity of our students are being challenged and developed. So they will be making something out of that problem to address the problem. So they will be incorporating their creativeness in making that particular model or prototype. Collaboration, of course, is when there is group work, working together as a team. So this here in the Philippines, we have what we call the different performance task of our students. Now, this performance task is done by the students in groups. So with that, they are developing their collaborative skills, their togetherness, cooperation. Because like me, I always tell them that through teamwork, there is our dream will always work. So when there is teamwork, the dream always works. Okay. Now, in communication, so after they have tried to analyze the problem, they have created something to solve the problem through collaboration, and then they have finalized a certain possible solution to a problem. Then they will now present their solutions to their friends, to their classmates, to their colleagues. So that is communication. Because when we try to share a certain idea and it's being tested and proven good to solve a certain problem, the more that we are accurate, that particular solution is really the solution to that particular problem. Now, STEM is simply making connections while solving problems. So, STEM is making connections while we are solving problems. So, that is the simple definition. Now, why STEM? As we try to look at the early STEM learning. Now, early STEM learners are proven to be better problem solvers, logical thinkers, and self-reliant. Now, because they have built the foundation to be a problem solvers. The younger the students that where we utilize or we use this approach, we incorporate STEM in our teaching and learning. They are said to proven to be better problem solvers. But then there are some instances wherein it is not being utilized or not as usual as it should be, especially if we are considering the individual differences among our learners. So maybe this is something new for them, but it's never too late. So if we haven't started this particular approach, we haven't utilized this, then we can start it so that we can also teach our students. The younger they are, the more prepared they will be to be competitive individuals. It is the future's best paid. So I have mentioned a while ago those careers which are aligned with STEM, engineering, mathematics, science, technology. These are the highest paid jobs of the future. Okay, so it is expected because this is the um, uh, these courses are really so difficult, if we may say so. And if students would know that there are so many competitions, problem solving, and so on, they would just say, "Oh, it's so difficult," because they already have the particular notion in their mind. But we can try to eradicate that by trying to present this particular STEM education to them, and then they will love step by step. They will accept it and realize that this is not really a difficult thing. STEM-based project. These are hands-on learning offers essential skills for future within the STEM sector. So expected that is using this STEM education, it is expected that this is really hands-on projects. These are project-based learning wherein students are going to engage themselves in making some projects through collaboration, cooperation, teamwork. more STEM opportunities. So STEM drives the technology of our future, and the demand of STEM educated employees is projected to rise 10 to 15% worldwide by 2018. So that was way back 2018. So we are now in 2023. So I guess um, the percentage is again higher. Why? Because of the fast changing the transition of our educational system as well as our community. It is technology driven, so we expect that there will be more STEM opportunities. Now, what about the word STEAM? Now, if we try to compare it to STEM and STEAM, these are just two parallel or synonymous terms. Why? Because there is just the integration of letter A, which is the incorporation of arts. Why arts? Because the arts um, shows the creativeness of our students. So there when they create their prototype or projects, they will be showcasing their talents, their skills in arts. So that is the integration also of the STEAM. But of course, still that is within the STEM. Okay. Now, I've been talking about the engineering design a while ago. Engineering design is how we solve the problems. So STEM, we are making connections to solve a problem. Now, to solve a problem, we are going to use the engineering design. So this is a five steps approach. We have the ask, imagine, plan, create, and improve. Of course, we always make our goal to be at the center. Why? Because the goal will serve as your driving, will serve, of course, as your target point, where you will be drive to solve that particular problem, incorporating the five steps that we have enumerated. Now, here is an example. Okay, so solving problems through engineering design. Now, this is an application of real life examples. It's not just within the four corners of the classroom. Okay, so it is integrating our lesson or trying to bring the lesson in real life. So we try to show them a certain scenario. Okay, so the problem is all the mangoes on your tree are too high to reach. So if it's too high to reach, the challenge now is design a new way to reach and harvest those mangoes. So students will be thinking, how are we going to do that? So they would be very thinking, um, how to do that? We can just use the ladder and so on and so forth, or we will just be climbing the mango tree and reach those particular mangoes and harvest them. Now, that is not the point because we have what we call the criteria and the constraints. The criteria and constraints are: device must reach at least 1.5 meters above your head. Use only the indicated materials. Must help you successfully pick a mango off the tree. Okay? So you have there what we call the supplies also. These are the only things that the students will be utilizing so that they will be able to reach and harvest the mango. 5 sheets of paper, 1 meter of tape, scissors, pens, and pencil. Now, when we try to make a workshop with this, I also tried my best to make this particular prototype here or model. So I also tried it. Of course, this is not since we do not have a mango tree. I I uh, I what do we call this one? I tried to reach something above the table if it will really meet the criteria and constraints that I have that is being presented to us. And of course, at first it never works, but they say there is no failure unless you fail to keep on trying. So try and try. If you can make it, then devise again another, make again another model of that, and then do it again until you are able to reach the goal that you wanted to achieve. Then, of course, if students are given that particular activity, you give them time limit. So you say you have 15 minutes, you can do it. So encourage them to give their best, because in that way they will be having those time to think on or collaborate with one another, plan, and so on and so forth, so that they could arrive to the solution to the problem. Okay, so at their minds they are already thinking, how are we going to do that? Okay, so after that we have to share what did you design. So with that particular problem, challenge, criteria, and constraints with the supplies, they have to share now. So they have finished making their models to harvest the mango. So what did you design? They will be explaining, and they will be um, sharing with the group mates, with the classmates, with the colleagues, with friends. Okay, so different designs will be coming out. Okay, so their creativity will be coming out too, and you will realize how creative students are, because they will be having those different ideas in their minds, and sometimes their ideas are even better than what we think we can ever do. Okay, now, with that particular thing, since we are telling about making connections, now let's try to connect this particular lesson in mathematics. So in mathematics, we can solve that particular problem through integrating this particular concept on Pythagorean theorem. So the formula, as stated, is the hypotenuse, which is the longest side. C squared is equal to A squared plus the B squared. And by substituting that particular um, values, they can be able to solve what is the longest side. Okay? So you can try to incorporate that. So with that particular lesson in mathematics, now let us apply in our everyday lives. Okay? So that is trying to make connections. Now, math is really what we call the language of STEM education. Math speaks for STEM education because of the different computations, the different designs that we have to make, is how we work within criteria and constraints. So there are specific criteria that we have to make, and there are some limitations that we have to take into consideration. Why? Because we know we don't just do it. So there must be some criteria where we are bounded by rules, so that we will really test if what we did is really good or not. And math allows us to satisfy criteria and constraints. So if it is good, then it will pass your particular criteria. And if it does not, of course, you fail. And then you have to try and try again. Now, the parts of the engineering design process, as I have mentioned a while ago, are stated in the five-step approach. Now we have the problem, criteria and constraints, which are the rules, tools, materials, and processes. Here is now the incorporation. Here is now the connection of STEM through mathematics. And the last one is a story. Why a story? Because the story in under this story, we are now incorporating arts. Why arts? Because arts is not just limited to designs. It is also within the story that we can make to make our problem engaging, encouraging, and interesting to solve. Now let's go further with this. A story from the Philippines. So you can make it this way. Think of a certain illustration just like that one. So we can see the scattered sandals, slippers. So they can make their own stories out of that. So why are those slippers scattered or those sandals? So they will be thinking. They will be sharing with one another. So what could probably be the problem? So they will be having this collaboration, open ideas, opening of ideas and sharing, and which is very, very good because everybody will be participative in this particular lesson. Now the goal is, what is the need? What do you want to do or make? And what is the problem? Given that particular illustration wherein we are faced with that scattered slippers and sandals. Okay, so that was the first thing, the problem or the goal. Next is what are the criteria and constraints, the rules. So when we say criteria, what the design must do and what it must not do. Okay, so that's the criteria. And the constraints, limits to your designing. So the materials which are included, those are the limitations. The money, the materials, the time, the space. Okay. So you are given only the scissor, the paper, and the tape. How are you going to utilize that to harvest the mango? Okay, so those are the limits of your designing. And the criteria must organize the sandals. Okay, so the thing is, how are you going to organize the sandals? Must not get in the way of the door. Okay, so since it is organized, it should not be getting on the way with the door. And the constraints, the materials that you will be utilizing must cost less than 3,000 pesos. So must be smaller than 1/2 meter square. So what could be that material? Okay, so students will be thinking about it. Okay, the tools and processes. What tools do you have access to? Okay, so you can use scissor, hammer, screwdriver, glue, tape, or do you even need a machinery or computers in that case? So it's up to you. Now you are just providing the necessary criteria and constraints and then let the students do the activity. Okay. Now, yes, this one is the engineering design process. Looking at that particular five step approach as this imagine, plan, create, and improve, incorporating the goal, which is the center of our discussion, which is, of course, to how are we going to organize the sandals using those criteria and constraints and processes. Now, let's zero in with what are we going to do when we say ask. Why are the shoes left at the door? Shoes or sandals or slippers? How many slippers, shoes, or sandals are left at the door? Why are they disorganized? So maybe, so students will be thinking, maybe there is an occasion, there is a birthday party, there is a party inside the house, and so many visitors, and they just leave their slippers, sandals, and shoes outside. Okay, so something like that. Okay, the criteria they must organize. What should they do? Organize the shoes, not to get in the way of the door. The constraints, of course, use only the supplies for the workshop. So you will be providing a certain work supplies. So that is the most essential thing in this engineering design process in the STEM education because you will provide a given material and out of that they will be utilizing that using their creativeness, critical thinking. How are they going to devise it to make it to solve that particular problem? And of course, the second step is imagine. How could the shoes be organized? Is it by color, by size? Okay. How could they be put somewhere else? What if we could build anything? Can we build anything like a shoe rack, slipper rack, or a box? What can you do with the supplies that you have? So how are you going to utilize the resources provided? Okay. So here we are trying also to show them or teach them how are they going to um, maximize just the given resources. For instance, that is integrating also the value of being saving what is at hand, utilizing what is at hand, and not to demand anything else to beautify the certain project, only what is given to them. Okay. In that case, we are trying to teach them how to um, improvise or how to use those specific resources and save money without spending more than what is being asked for them to use in making that particular project. Plan. Here they have to choose one idea. Of course, with collaboration, They should come up with one idea. It doesn't matter if it is um, uh, it doesn't matter if it is something new that is that is so difficult for them, or something they already knew. Okay, so as long as they will be having this cooperation and collaboration with one another, and they agree to make just one particular idea, how will you build it? So they have to plan or make a sketch. What supplies can you use to make it? Okay, so that's the planning stage. Okay, so always show them the criteria and constraints as you try to teach them what they are going to do and expected to do. Okay, and create. Now let's build. So out of the ideas that they have already planned. Now they will now create. Okay, now let's build and improve. After making or creating that particular thing or model that will solve the certain problem on fixing or organizing those sandals, slippers, or shoes, did it work? Is it okay? Did it satisfy, or did it satisfy the criteria and the constraints? What could be done to make it better? For instance, you try to organize those sandals and your material fall down and it doesn't work. Then you have to make it better again. Build again, try to improve it so that at the end it will be really good. It will really satisfy what is being asked to solve that particular problem. Anyway, we are trying to improve because if it really doesn't fit that particular criteria and it doesn't satisfy the problem at hand, what's the use of it? So you have to improve. Now, for instance, you try to make it and then you fail. Now you have to try again until you succeed. But if you try and try again, you fail and you fail again, still, you still have to try and try again until you succeed. Anyway, we have what we call that we knew that in trying and trying and trying we will always succeed whatever we wanted to achieve because we have that eagerness, that goal, which is to make it and to succeed, to achieve that particular solution to that problem at hand. And of course, the process never ends. The cycle goes on, it never ends. So you go back, improve, ask again, what's the problem with this? Imagine how are you going to reconstruct? You plan again, then you create, you try to test it. If it doesn't work, improve again until you are able to reach that particular thing that will satisfy the condition, criteria, and constraints of that particular problem. Now, always remember to make connections. Why? Because STEM is making connections to solve problems. So, what are the connections of this particular problem that I have presented? In science, of course, we have the materials which is being utilized for the project, the forces, how are you going to create that? So, if you will be building a shoe rack, okay, so that's science. Technology, you have the tools. What are the equipments that you will be utilizing? The design, of course, you have to sketch that plan. What design are you going to utilize? Are you going to use the computer to make your design? Sketch it? It's fine as long as you are making connections to the other disciplines. Engineering, sketching and building. Okay, so somehow it is interrelated and connected parallel with one another. Sketching, and then after you sketch, you build. So engineering. And of course, math, you have your ratios, fractions, and measurements for accuracy. Always test for accuracy through measurements so that it will really fit in with the criteria and constraints of that particular problem. And what could we do in your class? What could we do in our class also? What design opportunities can you think of? Of course, we live in the different corners of the world. We live in the different, we have different situations. Okay, so here in the Philippines, we have those particular some illustrations which are similar to yours also. But of course, we can think of other problems also. Present that particular problem. So take a certain instance on that particular problem on traffic jam. With that traffic jam, what could be the possible solution? So students can design also a certain solution to that problem. So make a story out of it and then challenge the students what will be the solution, the possible solution for the traffic. Okay. So what about the motorcycle, the vehicle with so many cars at the back? Knowing the motorcycle can only carry limited loads, but you see how it is being designed to carry how many, how, what are those in the picture? Chicken. And some other stuff that you would like to carry using your vehicle. Here, we also we also have such vehicles, those who are selling fishes, those who are selling, what do you call this one? Different fruits. Okay, they put that in their carts, and they only have the single motorcycle. Now they can design actually. So if others can think of that way, you try to bring it into the classroom. That it is really an application of STEM education in the outside world. It is not just in the four corners of the classroom. Because when we try to incorporate what we are teaching within the four corners of the classroom and bring it out into the real world, students are more, they appreciate more those particular instances. Wow, it's really the lesson that I learned. Yeah, it's just not a pure computation and so on and so forth. Now this is the real life application, so they will appreciate the essence of the lessons that we are teaching through STEM education. Now, of course, it is very important that there should be brainstorming after a certain class that you have incorporated this STEM learning using this engineering design process approach. What are real problems your students might see that could be used to engage them in engineering design through connections in STEM? So they could have this sharing. So um, give some time in your class wherein there is a brainstorming like, what about in your place? Ask them. What about yours and the other classmates? So, what are those instances, real problems that you encounter? And then you try to pick one of those problems. Now, let's help your classmate solve that problem through engineering design process approach. So, in that way, you are now having that STEM education in their classes. Now, if ever we haven't started this particular STEM education because of this challenge that it is difficult, the limited materials, and maybe students will not appreciate, especially if it is newly presented to them, it is something new, they never had it. Well, they say we can always start small and simple. Though we cannot make it gradual change from the usual strategy that we are using. So we can always have it and start it with small and simple. Why? Because when you do a gradual change, just like us, when we have to shift immediately from a certain usual thing that we do not do, we won't appreciate it at that moment, of course. So what happens is that they will they will have rejection. Okay, so start small and simple. Say, what about this very small thing? How are we're going to do that? You do it once a week today. Incorporate STEM learning in your classes, and then next meeting next week, then you can have twice a day, and then until you are able to use it as their usual approach, wherein they are using this daily in their classroom, and they will appreciate, they will really enjoy, and they are really engaged in this particular teaching and learning process where there is a maximum participation among them. So always start small and simple, and it's never too late for us to start because just like me, I own. It's only during the time that I joined the Simeo course by Yogyakarta Engineers Indonesia last May 2022, that I was able to I was presented with this idea. Wow, this is very really very great. So I am very thankful with that learning. And so I incorporated that in my classroom and utilized it. And little by little, I saw them. They really appreciate it. Now, it's just similar with the performance tasks that we are letting our students do. But we never knew that we are really incorporating STEM education in the classroom. That's the performance task that we have. But of course, we fail to see and show them the connection. So what we should do now is to always show the connection is in STEM, whatever things that we ask them to perform, show the connection to STEM so that they will appreciate that we are really incorporating STEM education using the engineering design process. And of course, I would like to give thanks to Dr. Scott Bartolome, the owner of this particular slide, which I got from the course where I attended. He was the one who showed this particular slide, and I'm grateful I was able to use it. And as I said a while ago, sharing is caring. And so I also shared this particular idea because that is the way I show how much I care also to all the educators and learners so that they will also be um, equipped with this particular skills needed as a challenge to the 21st century skills that we are facing right now to be prepared and competitive individuals in the future. And sharing also my outputs during the course. So those simple, very simple. That's a work of a teacher. I have mentioned a while ago. Our students can even make better models than us. So who knows? No, why not let them try it? So those are making the bridge, and the different activities. So after your students are able to make those particular projects, always do the documentation. Why? Because when we do the documentation and show them that they are very good at this and that, they are very much grateful with that. And for them, it's something that we appreciate. And the more that we appreciate our students, the more they are engaged in learning and the more they will participate in our discussions. Okay, so those are also my outputs, the cans, the boxes of candies, and so on. And my virtual sharing also. So as I have said a while ago, brainstorming, sharing is very much important because only then that we can receive and accept other ideas that will make us better, or they learn from the idea that we shared that will make them also better. And so it's a way of sharing and caring. And with that, thank you very much for listening. I hope everybody was able to learn something from my short presentation. Terima kasih. Thank you very much, IGP, for giving me the opportunity to share. And of course, I would like to add also that whenever we engage our students in this particular STEM education, since they are challenged to face this particular new concept, it is expected. Do not give them or do not expect something very high from them, because when we expect something high from them and then we fail to achieve the expectations that we have, they might also feel not motivated and not to pursue the thing that we wanted them to learn and do. So maybe if we start if we start incorporating STEM education in our class, let us challenge them. Let us make ourselves as the model first. Okay, so show them. Me, I was able to make this one. What about you? You might be better than me. Okay, so some things like that. Because when we exceed from the expectations, when we exceed from the expectations our expectations from our students, and then for them it is something, it could leave them something negative or positive. And it's good if it is positive because they would be learning. What about if it's negative? So you have to also tell them, or share to them that um, failure is not a failure thing. Why? Because when we fail, we learn something. Sometimes we learn more when we fail. Why? Because we get the chance we get the chance to improve, improve further, make some other adjustments, and give more of our best. Okay, so when we fail, we actually have to recalculate what are the weaknesses that we have. Okay, so from those weaknesses we will learn how to develop further. Okay, and it is very much significant that we try to praise whatever things our students would share. If their model is not so good, still you have to say, oh, this is very great, but I believe you can improve further. If it does not satisfy the criteria and the constraints of our problem solving, then it will not be a failure, because you can still have it improved. That's why we have that never ending process. Okay, so in that way we are giving chances to our students to learn from their mistakes. And so my teacher challenged me to do this. How am I going to improve it further? So in that way they will be thinking, what could be the other way that I could improve this. Okay, so that's the essence of learning and teaching, of course. Actually, when we try to teach our students with using the STEM education, we are teaching them at the same time we are learning. And I hope from this sharing that I had, you also learn from me, from my simple sharing. And of course, thank you very much for listening to me.
Sorry, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your rich content presentation, which can impact our knowledge seekers. Surely, ma'am. After your presentation, I hope our knowledge seekers can learn something new, which was our only intention: learn and grow together as we knowledge seekers, ma'am. Once again, thank you so much, ma'am, for your presentation. Now, ma'am,
My
it's time
pleasure,
for our
sir.
question answer session, which is the one more valuable part of our regular webinar. Honorable ma'am, stay with us. After a short video, we will back in our session part 2, which is the question answer part, ma'am.
Okay.
Dear IGP, Dear IGP knowledge seekers, ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have webinar certifications and competition. Dear IGP knowledge seekers, ask your question in the comment box after as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition. After a short video, we will come back. Everyone, please waiting for us for waiting for question answer session. Dear IGB knowledge seekers, in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Ma'am, our first question. Ma'am, our first question from Litrim Barha. What are the key point and big ideas in this lesson about STEM?
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Braham. Okay, thank you for that question. For me, the key points and big ideas in this lesson about STEM is trying to incorporate our teaching and learning, making connections through problem solving. So that's the essence of STEM education. We make connections through science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in trying to solve problems and bringing it into real life situations where students are engaged and see as they appreciate the values and significance of learning, not only in the four corners of the classroom, but also in the outside world. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for your answer. Our second question from Litrim Barha. Do science and math lesson overlap, ma'am?
um, Based on our curriculum here in the Philippines, and I think also some in other curriculums, of course, in other countries, of course, science and math lessons somehow have these connections. They also have connections. That's why STEM education is making connection. But they don't overlap to the point that we are focusing on the mathematical thinking skills in mathematics, and in science we are focused on the scientific thinking skills of our learners. But somehow at the point we're in, when we try now to integrate this particular STEM education, this science, technology, engineering, and mathematics goes together, but still they have these restrictions not to overlap from one competencies to another, because there is a guide that we are using for us not to overlap those particular disciplines and to try to develop those particular scientific thinking skills and manipulative and mathematical thinking skills in that separate learning areas. That's my idea, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your answer. For your answer. Our third question from Litrim Barha. Does the PTA have plans to found additional STEAM programs, ma'am?
Wow, that is really a great challenge, sir. And of course, the PTA have do they have plans to fund additional STEM programs? In our school, I am teaching the science, technology, engineering for the junior high school, and there is also the science, technology, engineering, mathematics for the senior high school. And these programs are really useful. But regarding this particular additional fund, probably in trying to incorporate that particular learning approach, which is the engineering design process, which demands really those materials to be utilized in teaching learning. I hope and we pray that they could also give support, and they will give fund to this particular STEM program so that we could really develop our learners and we could um, uh, achieve the target that we have, which is developing our learners to be competitive individuals in the 21st century. Yes, that's my answer.
Thank you, ma'am, for your answer. Fourth question from Litrim Barha. Are students encouraged to compete in any STEAM competition, such as science, Olympiad, or Technovation, ma'am?
Yes. Yes, our students are challenged really to engage in that particular science Olympiad. Though we have that in school, but on Technovation, there is no such thing yet because, yeah, because of the lack of technology equipments in school since we are in the public school. And I'm not certain also in private schools if they are having those technovation, but we are certain that Science Olympiad is being joined by our students or learners in the public school also.
Thank you, ma'am, for your answer.
Welcome, sir.
Our next question from Flomi. Blessed Sunday, everyone. Ma'am, Array, ma'am, how can members integrate STEAM activities in the classrooms? Marming Slamet.
Yes, so maraming salamat is thank you in English, okay? So, how can math teachers integrate STEM activities? We can use that STEM activities as an approach when we try to use the engineering design process, the five-step approach that I have presented. In trying to, for instance, in a math lesson, the topic probably I will be giving a specific topic on quadrilaterals, wherein they will be making designing a certain concept wherein they are utilizing those quadrilaterals to solve a certain problem or
Tuition
input
light
in
टिफिन त
using something like an artwork, for instance, wherein they will be utilizing a certain materials for that matter, given the materials that you have presented. So incorporating this and we can integrate this in in math classes depending on the topic that we have. Because not all topics we can try to incorporate this one. And we cannot be utilizing and presenting this particular approach every day to our learners if they are not well versed with this particular process, the five-step process. But of course, we can integrate. Yes. Thank you, sir, Flomi.
Thank you, ma'am, for your answer. Our next question from Litrim Barha. Who gets to decide what to focus on, what to drop in the standards?
This one, what to drop in the standard? The curriculum implementers, I guess, Sir Ma'am Braha, who gets to decide what to focus on, what to drop in the standard or curriculum. The curriculum implementers, the planners of the curriculum, because they are the ones who are giving those. We are only on the implementation, and that is a certain thing that we have to. Yeah, there are some parts in the curriculum which are really to be trimmed down because of this very congested curriculum that we have. But then we have no right as the teachers to decide what to drop and what to focus. So once they give the curriculum, then we have to implement that particular given curriculum, whether we want it or not, because that is required, and that is believed to be the best, which comes from
Ako
our
sulit to.
experts.
Ito kung
Sir Brad?
quiz siya lang. Thank you, ma'am. Our next question from Evelyn. Good afternoon, ma'am. Why do some learners
First, perceive.
why do some learners believe that mathematics is difficult? Thank you.
Yeah. We
We
cannot do away
received.
with the fact. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir, and Ma'am Evelyn, for the question. We cannot do away with the fact that they have that notion or anxiety toward mathematics that it is really difficult. Because I myself, when I was young, I have that particular notion. But then, as I grew up and became a math teacher, for me, mathematics is difficult if the approach of the teacher in teaching makes it really difficult. So it's up, I guess, to the teacher to innovate or make a way or strategy, use a strategy wherein students will be engaged and not to be feeling fearful about the subject. So, but of course, one teacher cannot just do it by himself. So all must be utilizing a certain strategy. Maybe it depends on the strategy of the teacher, the approach of the teacher, the personality of the teacher. If he looks so very terror, so maybe those are some aspects. So yeah, those are some of the things that are from my readings that affects the perception of the students that the mathematics is really difficult. So there are some other reasons probably, but we can have some ratings so that we could justify our claims, of course, and we could somehow settle those particular issues and help our learners feel at ease with the mathematics subject. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for your answer. Please, ICP knowledge seekers, ask your question in the comment box as much as want to know from our speaker. Do you have any question? Please ask in the comment box. Ma'am, I hope you covered full topics and you covered full question. There is no more question here. Once again, thank you so much, ma'am, for your time in IGP. We have learned a lot from you with new topics. It will
Thank
add
you, sir.
some value to our activity along with our academic and professionals group. Honorable ma'am, hope to see you again with my new topic and a new date. Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome, sir. My pleasure to share also.
Honorable ma'am, before we move to the next webinar certification process, if you want to leave this studio, ma'am, you can.
Come again, sir.
Honorable ma'am, before we move to the next webinar certification process, if you want to leave this studio, you can, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you very much, and I hope some I have shared something new to our viewers. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, ma'am. IGP knowledge seekers, it's time for the webinar certification process, the most attractive part of our regular webinar. After a short video, we will start our webinar certification. After webinar certification, we have an online quiz competition and quiz certifications. Dear IGP knowledge, for the webinar certification process, the most attractive and powerful part of our regular webinar. After a short video, we will start our webinar certifications. Webinar certification, we have an online quiz competition and quiz certification process. Thank you. ওটা কোন জায়গায় ছিল জানি? Today's are some technical problems. We cannot share our certificate code. We provide our certificate code in a short time. Thank you. Today's our some technical problems. We cannot share our certificate code. We provide our certificate code in a short time. Thank you. Dear IGP knowledge seekers, it's time for the most engaging part of this webinar, which is an online quiz competition, which is our regular webinar activity. Now, time for the online quiz competition. To join in the online quiz competition properly, please follow my instruction carefully. Now, time for the online quiz competition. To join the online quiz competition properly, please follow my instruction carefully. First of all, you have to go www.slido.com and find this today's quiz or scan this QR code for direct joining. The quiz code is global IGP. The quiz code is global IGP. After a short video, we will start our quiz session. Dear IGP knowledge seekers, please join in Slido with code and the code is global IGP. Dear IGP knowledge seekers, please join in Slido with code and the code is global IGP. Already 30 people are joined for quiz competition. The code is global IGP. The code is global IGP. Now time for the online quiz competition. To join the online quiz competition properly, please follow my instruction carefully. First of all, you have to go www.slido.com, then find today's quiz or scan this QR code for direct joining, and the code is global IGP. And the code is global IGP. 32 people join for quiz competition. After a few minutes, we will go for quiz competition. The code is global IGP. Code is global IGP. The code is global IGP. Please join in Slido with code and the code is global IGP. Let's start for quiz session. Our first question in this session. STEAM stands for science, engineering, and mathematics. Is it true or false? Our first question in this session is STEAM stand for science, engineering, and mathematics. First option is true, and second option is false. Is it true or false? 50-50 answer. Let's check. False is the right answer, and 50% people are right. Our second question in this session, STEAM stands for first option is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and second option is science, transportation, and electricity mathematics. Let's check. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is the right answer, and 100% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our third question in this session is what does STEAM stand for? First option is science, technology, engagement, mathematics, and second option is science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics is the right answer, and 97% people are right. Our fourth question in this section is the endorsement for STEAM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Is it true or false? Is it true or false? True is the right answer, and 100% people are right. Moving to the next question. Our fifth question is what does the acronym acronym for the Learning Advisor STEAM stand for? Bonus prize. Who are they? First option is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Second option is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Machines. Sorry. First option is the right answer, and 97% people are right. Wow. Moving to the next question, and our sixth long question is a specific technology field that deals with creating resource for learning. First option is instructional technology, and second option is assistive technology. Instructional technology, and second option is assistive technology. Instructional technology is the right answer, and 90% people are right. Moving to the next, our seventh question is all our learning advisor. First option is can assist students to find a flat, and second option is can assist students to find effective strategic for study. Can assist students to find effective strategy for study is the right answer, and 100% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our eighth question is Learning Advisor EAL. The International EAL acronym stands for. First option is English as an additional lecture, and second option is English as an additional language. English is an additional language is the right answer and 88% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our next question is the STEM culture has two pathway, science and mathematics and engineering and technology. Is it true or false? Is it true or false? Two is the right answer and 66% people are right. Moving to the next and let's our next and final question in the session is attitude is a person natural, physical and mental talent for learning. Is it true or false? Is it true or false? Two is the right answer and 95% people are right. Congratulations top 10. Congratulations to our webinar online quiz competition winners top 10. Congratulations, second slide will take a few minutes for finalizing the result. And after that, we will issue our online quiz competition certificates on our official Facebook page and groups. Congratulations to our webinars online quiz competition winners top 10. Congratulations, second slide will take a few minutes for finalizing the result. And after that, we will issue our online quiz competition certificates of our official Facebook page and groups. The official Facebook page and groups name is Institute of Global Professionals. Congratulations to our webinars online quiz competition winners top 10. Congratulations, second slide will take a few minutes for finalizing the result, and after that we will issue our online quiz competition certificate on our official Facebook page and groups. Institute of Global Professionals. At the end moment of our session, we can say properly feeds your skills. Never stop learning, cause life never stop teaching us. Be happy and stay safe. See you again and again. We want to participation in every program. If you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. Albert Einstein. Before I say hit the end live button, again wants to thanks to all IGP knowledge seekers for our active participations as always. See you again in the next session. Thank you.